all the forest reasons of insecurity. Akeredolu gave the order during an interactive meeting with the leadership of the Hausa Fulani and Ebira communities in Akure, the state capital. The governor also banned the herdsmen from moving their cattle along highways and within the cities across the state, adding that security reports and debriefings from kidnapped victims pointed in one direction, traceable to some bad elements masquerading as herdsmen. Now, the Miyetti Allah responded to that, stating, of course, the state chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, Malam Garba Bello, spoke and said they support what the governor has said. He did not say Fulani should leave the state, but he wants the criminals to leave. We need peace in the states, and the governor's order will bring peace. But it's not our members that are kidnapping. Our members are responsible. Now, in response to that, the presidency waded into the controversy generated by the directive asking herdsmen to leave the State Forest Reserve. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President called for restraints on the side of the state governments and the Fulani communities. In a statement titled, "In Tackling Crime, Ondo State Government Will Not Act Outside the Constitution," the Presidency said the governor, being a legal practitioner, should know that he cannot unilaterally oust thousands of herders who have lived all their lives in the state on account of infiltration of forests by criminals. And so, Garba Shehu brought the Constitution here, and we decided to link up with our own legal practitioner who understands the Constitution, Barrister Ritchard Wokocha. Good morning, Barrister Wokocha.
Good morning, Sam.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Happy New Year.
You're welcome. Yeah, same to you.
All right. So we have the Ondo State government on one side and the presidency on the other side. And everybody claims that what they have to offer aligns with the Constitution. So we would like to know, based on the reports so far, which of them is breaking the law or not working according to the provisions of the Constitution?
Well, the two of them are relying on different sections of the Constitution. The state government is relying on Section 44 of the Constitution that guarantees the right to property, and the implication of which is that if you move into a property illegally or without the consent of the owner, you are violating that owner's right to property. And certain articles the basis of the Constitution. The presidency or spokesman of the presidency is relying on Section 41, which guarantees freedom of movement to all citizens, and specifically states that a person cannot be expelled. It guarantees freedom of movement for Nigerians to any part of Nigeria, to settle in any part of Nigeria, and to move in and move out of Nigeria at will. And then it follows up that no citizen of Nigeria shall be expelled from Nigeria or refuse entry thereto or exit. So I think the presidency is relying on Section 41. But what needs to be understood is that first, the Constitution has guaranteed the right to property, and you cannot enter another man's property without his consent. The forest reserves of a state is forest reserves of that state. You cannot use it without the consent of the owner of the forest reserve, which is the state. So the state reserves the right to protect its property and to preserve its property. A number of things need to be considered here. The persons in question, are they Nigerian citizens or not? Because we've often heard of the federal government saying that marauders that are attacking and rustling cattle in the north are foreigners, Malians and Chadians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are these persons Nigerian citizens? Because if they are not Nigerian citizens, then the provision does not apply to them. The one the presidency is even relying on does not apply to them. And then most importantly, rights guaranteed by the Constitution cannot be violated without consequence. So the state reserves the right to ask them to leave their forest reserves, especially if they've constituted themselves into nuisance. You cannot use it without the consent of the owner, and even if you do, you cannot abuse the privilege if they look the other way for you to use it.
Okay.
You cannot abuse the privilege, yes.
Now, since both sides are relying on sections, parts of the Constitution, it might be safe to say that they are right in their own way. But to bring about the clear difference, what does the Constitution say about trespassing? Are there any provisions in any section that talks?
Exactly. That's why I said there are consequences for moving into violating a person's property right without his consent, or moving into a person's property right without his consent. That is trespass. Under the law, that person reserves the right to sue you, recover damages, and to expel you from that place. So you do not have the freedom of movement to come into my house and sit in my sitting room and do what you like. You will knock at the door. If I allow you in, you will come in. If you come in without my consent, you are violating my rights.
Okay.
So the presidency is not right here. They are looking at the word expel, at the state expel those people from the forest reserve. Those people are not lawful citizens who have settled lawfully in those places. And they did not lawfully gain access into those forest reserves from the state. They did not have the consent of the state to do so. Unless the federal government is saying that, oh, we are at liberty to enter each other's property, go into each other's land and do whatever we like on those lands without the consent of the owner. That definitely the presidency does not mean, and that will not be consistent with the law.
Okay.
So the presidency is wrong here. Everybody who enters another person's property without his consent commits trespass. And the owner of the property reserves the right to expel you from that place, to get you out of his property. They are not expelling them from Nigeria.
Okay.
They are expelling them from their property, which they occupied illegally.
All right. Now, still to establish the position of the president, I want to quote a part of that statement by Garba Shehu. It reads,
Yes.
The presidency, who swore to defend the Constitution, has spoken against IPOB in asking citizens of the North to leave. He did not spare the group based in Sokoto, Muslim Solidarity, which asked the Bishop of Sokoto to leave, and is prepared to do all that the law permits to protect citizens all over the country in their choice of where they wish to reside. Now, these two examples were used to state that Ondo should not also ask these persons to leave. Do you think that these instances connect?
No, they do not. They do not, because the issue of IPOB is about breaking the law and threatening security of the country. That is different. Now, what we have here is property questions relating to property rights. The governor did not send them out of Nigeria. What the Constitution protects is citizens from being expelled from Nigeria or refuse entry into Nigeria or exit from Nigeria.
Okay.
So they are at liberty to reside in any part. But you can't live in a man's house without paying rent or without at least his consent.
Yeah.
So that provision is subject to lawful residence.
Okay.
Residing lawfully in a place and entering a place in accordance with the law. So the presidency is making a wrong comparison here.
So would you say in the future, to avoid a recurrence of something like this, should we hire legal practitioners in certain offices to make these statements, or should the presidency have a better understanding of the Constitution?
The presidency has the Ministry of Justice and is the chief law officer of the country, the Attorney General. So I'm sure before they issue a statement, they ought to have been properly briefed.
Okay.
It's not the same. If the state expels a person from its forest reserves who got in there in the first place without his consent, it's acting lawfully, and that's why the Nietiala said what they said.
Yeah.
The chairman of the Nietiala in the state said what they said. And if anybody enters even lawfully and begins to commit crime in that place, the man who allowed you in reserves the right to send you out,
Okay.
to preserve himself and protect his rights, which are protected by the Constitution.
All right.
So I think the scenarios are different. The federal government should worry about, the presidency should worry about the conduct of the persons involved, because the state is talking about security threats and breach of security and the rights of its citizens. They should worry about that and think about calling those who are going to be within the state to act within the law. The expression expel from the state is not expel from the country. And yes, while everybody reserves the right to reside in any part of the country, it is subject to lawful residence. not unlawful residence, not seizure,
Okay.
not taking over without lawful permission.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Barrister Wokocha. As always, you've been of immense help. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. So, Gabriela, I see the Constitution many times as the Bible. If you want to do something, you go to the part that, talks about what you want to do, and forget that there's another part that might also tell you that that right is not absolute. What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, I was listening to the barrister while he was speaking, and a lot of things were crossing my mind. And such, one of such is the fact that in Nigeria, constitutions have to take the constitutions in state governor. It's a clear reflection of the realities of the Nigeria that we live in. We institution says, and the barrister puts as clearly as he could ever put it. You come into my house, my permission. I have the right to tell you to leave. So I don't think the presidency is unaware of that part, but choosing for whatever reason to take the convenience out of the constitution and use that in that and brings me to the point that, look, way to go in Nigeria. Are we really good of Nigerians? Are we actually sincerely governing and leading for the better of Nigerians? Because if we are, we will not be finding ourselves having conversations like this.
Well, I think that the answer to that question is a big yes, we are. We just have different ways of fighting. Sometimes the picture is not clear from the beginning. You just need to see the whole thing to understand. The constitution itself might be a major source of confusion, because we've had many instances like this where people on different sides were relying on sections of the Constitution that actually gave them the power to think or behave in a certain way. So is that document, the Constitution, also posing problems?
Well, a lot of people have had arguments about the Constitution, our Constitution. They say, well, because exactly.
Yeah.
But you find that you just get away with a lot of things and use the Constitution as an excuse.
There are loopholes.
Yeah, there are lots of loopholes. I think that, there should be a review of the Constitution and cover those loopholes, because it really is not it's not helping us.
Really?
It really isn't.
All right, after the break, you get to hear the response of the Ondo state government to what the presidency has said. Don't go anywhere.
We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire.
All right, the Ondo State Governor has ordered the herdsmen in the state to vacate all the forest reserves in the state in his bid to check the spate of insecurity in the state. He gave the order during a meeting with the leadership of the Hausa Fulani and the Bira communities in Akure, the state capital. He banned herdsmen from moving their cattle along highways and within the cities across the state, adding that security reports and debriefings from kidnapped victims pointed in one direction, traceable to bad elements masquerading as herdsmen. And this is the interesting part of this. He did not say that herdsmen were the criminals. He said that based on the reports they had gotten, he pointed in one direction and that the criminals masqueraded as herdsmen. So to avoid all of that, leave that area so that anybody we see there becomes a suspect. Now, Mieti Allah, the state chairman of the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, spoke with newsmen and said they support what the governor has said. He did not say Fulani should leave, but he wants criminals to leave the state and that they need peace. Of course, we talked about what the presidency said. They waded into the controversy. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President called for restraint on the side of the state government. And it said that the state governor, being a legal practitioner, should know these things. He cannot unilaterally oust thousands of herders who had lived all their lives in the states on account of infiltration of the forest by criminals. And the next person who reacted was Ritchard Wokocha, who we asked. And he said, yes, they both relied on different parts of the Constitution, but for this particular case, the federal government is in the wrong. Now, the state government has responded again. And what did it say? Well, the Commissioner for Information and Orientation on those states, Donald Ojogo, said the president could not have approved such a statement.
Really?
I did not expect that. They do not believe that that statement was endorsed by the president. Ojogo stated in an interview on Wednesday with Channels TV that Garba Shehu did not issue that statement because that would have been a very dangerous one for the unity of the country. I think it's best to hear it from him.
One thing is certain. Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, by his antecedent, by his nationalistic posture, and by his patriotism that is known for, may not have directed or ordered that statement. One, it is certain that the president may not have directed that statement. And I'm almost persuaded to think that Garba Shehu didn't issue that statement because that would have been a very dangerous one for the unity of this country. It would have, the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association couldn't have done better than that statement. I am not assuming. I don't want to belong to the category of people who believe that Garba Shehu actually indeed made that statement. I'm waiting to confirm, and if it is true,
Him trying to something. I'm like, no, it can't. Not this guy. Not this guy. No.
Chukudi. No. It cannot be Chukudi. This is what the commissioner said. He doesn't believe the president or even Garba Shehu made the statement, but I read that statement and it was signed by Garba Shehu. He said, if that's the case, that means, of course, his final statement, it will mean that certain persons in the presidency are out to create problems for President Muhammadu Buhari. So this conversation just, is just going towards, it's almost at a point of no return. But anyways, we'd like to know what you think. Ondo says herders should vacate forest reserves. Mieti Allah says they are okay with it. Presidency says that he does not have the power to do it. Ritchard Wokocha says that the presidency is wrong on this particular turn, thanks to the Constitution. And the commissioner in Ondo says he does not believe that the president or Garba Shehu would have approved that statement. We would like to know what you would say. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. And WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. You can also connect with us on social media platforms at Nigeria Info PH. And please turn off your radio as you call us. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Port Harcourt, Agbo.
Go ahead.
From the statements we've heard from all of the
sections is very obvious. You and I can deduce, our conclusions from all of those, and to say that a lot of persons from this country don't believe in the unity of this country and are not ready to allow peace a chance to reign. Mm-hmm. For instance, it's very obvious from what the barrister said. You can't just come into my house uninvited. Mm. And okay, if I so choose to allow you even stay in my sitting room, you don't have the right to order me around or do whatever you like. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, we are free. We are free to go to any part of the country and reside, do our legitimate businesses. But then, to some extent, you're also allowed to, consult with the owners of such a place if you were to do out or carry out any serious thing whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the case here is. Those guys, did they enter that part of Ondo State with the consent of the government, the owners of that land? That's the number one question we should ask. And if not, to the extent that they are disrupting the peace and threatening the peace of the people of that land. So if the government of Ondo State reserves the right to ask them out, and the federal government, with respect to what the barrister said, with regards to Section 41 and 44 of the Constitution, it's very obvious that Garba Shehu and the presidency, they don't want the peace of this country. And because they believe the power is in their hands and they can do whatever they like and say whatever they like and project it to the public via the media. It's very unfortunate.
That might not be the case. They just relied on a part of the Constitution they believe in. All right, we're still taking your thoughts. 0817-923-0002. Good morning.
Okay.
Hello, good morning. Okay, that's just not good enough. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my brother Samara Gusnedu.
Good morning.
Yes, Henry from Bolorimibo.
Go ahead, Henry.
Let me look at the Akeldolo, the commissioner, the agreeing and disagreeing with the whole issues. Now, one thing I understand about it is that the essay to the president, Garba Shehu, sometimes I believe that some of the statements he makes is not approved by the president. But just because of the fact that some of the things, president will not come up to tell you or to disagree in public because the governor is the chief executive of the state and he is the chief security of the state. And he also gives account to whatever that happens in the state. And if maybe you come into the state and the governor finds out that you are not bringing peace to the state, it is his responsibility to make sure that he throw you out. So Garibashe will come in to tell us that they will not leave or the president have approved. I disagree that the President Muhammadu Buhari approved such a statement. So I think because of the fact the problem in the party, the APC, the party today, the party is not working together. That's why you get most of these issues coming from left and right centers. And Garibashe should understand that if him today becomes the governor of that state and somebody comes there to disorganize the peace of that state, he will not accept that. So he should, before he makes a statement, he should understand that there are people who are responsible in taking charge and the security affairs of that state. The man has said that if you are not well recognized, you are not approved to come here to do business, there is no need of you staying in the place. Yes, we have a freedom of movement and everything, but does he give you the right to come to another person's territory to destroy the place? The answer is no. So I think the president should call Garibashe to order so that this country will move in peace. Okay. And also the party too in question also have peace.
Thank you very much.
Continue in this kind of fight.
All right. So now that's one of many possibilities. We cannot tell whether or not that's true. But I know that Garibashe does not speak of his own accord.
He shouldn't speak of his own accord.
His office, his function in that position is to speak for the presidency. As a matter of fact, his position is senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity. So when a statement of this sort comes from that office, you know that it is literally the president speaking.
Yeah.
So if it is true that there are statements made by Garibashe that were not seen, endorsed, approved by the president himself, then there's a problem. Now, of course, we can't prove that, but if that's the case, there is a problem. Because what that will mean is we'll be at the mercy of Garba Shehu's emotions. If something happens and he doesn't feel it's okay, he will just say, "Oh, let me write this. I think this is what the president would want to say."
But here's what I think. I don't want us to go too far into that possibility because, again, it's just one out of
Many, yes.
so many.
Yeah.
And the governor merely stating that is his own, personal belief that, look, the president could not have said a thing like that. Maybe because he deems it too rash, based on what the Constitution really says, or sentimental, for whatever reason it is. I don't want us to, because if that is indeed a possibility, then we have even greater problems in this country than we thought we did. That means that people who have been pushing the narrative of, the president is not the one running the country, becomes somewhat a conversation that is worth having, and that will be very dangerous for us. So I don't want to believe that this is a possibility. It's one out of so many, and until proven otherwise, I do not think that Garba Shehu would come out and speak, on his own, authority.
He wouldn't. He just wouldn't. Else people will be going through all his speeches and asking, could the president have really said this?
That's not a good place for us to go.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, first of all, from the angle of our barrister, there's something is missing here.
Okay.
In Nigeria,
Tell us.
there are certain people, that where you come from, certain law thing does not hold you. That is the reality on the ground. Then, to one who is doubting that...
Hello, hold on. Hello,
Yeah.
please. I want you to say what you said again. I didn't get it. You said what does not hold you?
In Nigeria, in reality, not rhetorical, there are certain places you will come from this country. Your constitution or the law does not hold you.
What kind of place, please?
Would you want me to say? Let me continue.
No. I would like you to clear what you just said. The Constitution
All
does
right,
not
sir.
hold you if you go to certain places.
There are certain people, also where you come from, to this constitution we are talking about, this law of the land we are talking about does not hold them.
All right.
That is obvious.
Go ahead. I would really like to
Okay.
get...
So the issue of one who is doubting if he said or he did not say, has he not been saying similar things before now? What has happened? Who have called him to order? So this is not a new saying. So let them not pretend that they don't know, they don't know, or they're not seeing how the Nigeria is going. Just like you have said that the Nigeria we are in. But I don't my cap off for that governor. Unlike what we get from this part of the world, from where I come from, somebody will be pampering truth. Using your own people to play politics. Want to be to be recognized. Why they did not recognize you? Some of us even carry our money and give to them, so that they will still be. I don't know what they are looking for, and yet they will not get it.
All right.
I respect the governor there.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Simon Gabi. Governor Akeredolu versus the presidency. Nigerians only hear from the presidency when headsmen are mentioned. Nigeria is bigger than presidency and headsmen. Why does the presidency openly defend an outlawed group? Well, the answer is in the wind, I guess. Newton says, I don't like the way the presidency handles the issue of headsmen. After all, Mr. President told us that the killer headsmen were from another country. So why is there this defense? All right, and Sebastian from... Okay, that's not for this conversation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Williams.
Go ahead, Williams.
Yeah, Williams is my name, calling from Oyibo.
Okay.
Please, I want to appeal to you. I need you to connect me to Barrister Wokocha
Wow.
for certain clarification that has to do with violation of fundamental human rights.
Okay. All right, send a message to, I don't know, WhatsApp or my personal handle. I will try to reach Barrister Wokocha because I cannot give his contact without his permission. All right. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
The constitution we are talking about, is there any part of Nigeria's constitution that allows somebody to use his own business to destroy another person's business?
I doubt.
So, what are we really talking about? Like the caller before the last said, I don't know. Please, pardon me. But that is why some people say, do we even have government? In this, I am calling from the east anyway. You know, say our governors here. You bring this issue of herdsmen. And they tell you, stay in your farm and wait, even in the midnight, protect your crop. If they come to destroy your crop, send them to the police. I don't get all this. I don't understand in a place where somebody's business. Okay, let me say for instance, our people in the north doing their own business. Do they use their business to destroy the others that is there in the north? And we are saying we are a nation. In fact, I begin to even throw the line that some of us who say that we don't have a government.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do have a government. We're just not satisfied with the governance. Cam David, Cam Treasure, that's quite the name, on Facebook says, monitoring spirit from Abia State. Self-preservation and determination is the first law of nature. Whether the president or presidency, the Ondo government, or people should ignore the special assistant. Okay. And still on Facebook, a funny comment here. Adin Duoji says the laws of the state must be respected first before any political interest. Thank God, Atuegbu says, does human beings live in the forest? We have 4 minutes left, and I believe one call can happen with that time. Hello?
Hello?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Daniel.
All right, Daniel.
I think for me, we cannot pretend over the years that we do not understand the actions of the presidency since they come into power when it concerns the herdsmen. Whenever this issue comes up, it looks like there are this sympathy when it concerns these individuals. And that is a pity in a country who want to champion unity. I keep on saying we live so hypocritical in this country. We are in the front media shouting one Nigeria, unity to Nigeria and all that. But deep down in ourselves, the policies and actions of government never supported that. Because once upon a time, this government tried to even create federal government policy to favor this individual in terms of ranches by using public money to bid for them. They look at what they call track route for this individual. So some of the policies is all about trying to defend them. So whatever Garbachev said, I want to strongly stand. That is the stand of the presidency because the president himself have not been able to do any policy in countering this individual. Rather, it has been a support, direct or indirectly, and they come to the front media and they say, one Nigeria, and that is what I call complete fallacy.
All right.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. So actions of and policies of government, he says, does not champion the cause of unity. Now, Tony Anthony on WhatsApp says the primary responsibility of every governor is to protect lives and property. Nobody should leverage on constitutional provision to aid and abate crimes. The governor of a state is the chief custodian of lands within his domain. Well, 11 o'clock is here. It's 2 minutes away. Any final words, Gabriella?
Well, I think that it's time that in this country we begin to actually demand for what is right to be done. I'm tired of hearing and seeing in the news how politics just comes into play, or sentiments, or ethnic sentiments or differences come into play. If, like the barrister said earlier while he was speaking, if someone comes into your house without your permission, you have the right to tell him to leave. And the governor isn't even saying, oh, leave the states. He's saying to leave the forests.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think that the presidency and its stance in this situation is objective. And in that regard, I think that Nigerians should hold a presidency accountable for what they've said and whatever actions that they might want to take afterwards. The state governor has every right to relocate whoever, wherever you might be from, regardless of your ethnic tribe or whatever, to another location if indeed that poses a threat to security.
All right.
That's what I think. I think that the presidency should realize that Nigerians have actually come to a point where we can now begin to ask the right questions. We can now begin to hold government accountable for what they say, what they do, and the stance that they take in certain situations, especially as it affects our security in this nation.
All right. Now, what I'm most impressed by, and I don't know if this is something to be impressed by, is the Ondo State governor did not just tell them to vacate that place. It was after briefings. It was after investigation. Now, the report states that security reports and debriefings from kidnapped victims pointed in one direction, traceable to bad elements. So let's say you've rescued 10 kidnapped victims and they all say, oh, they took us to this bush. Fingers keep pointing in that direction. You want to do something about it. So it's important that we are on the same page as regards security, but more importantly, it's important that we are on the same page as regards unity. Because you will not blame the Nigerian who believes strongly, like the last caller, that the policies and actions of government does not promote unity. You don't want a country where people start to say that.
Yeah.
All right, 11 o'clock is here. And coming up next, there are reports that the curriculum of tertiary institutions does not align with industrial needs. We'll be looking at what needs to happen to change all of that. Also, remember that coronavirus is real. Do not drop your guard and do not wave off symptoms. Not going anywhere.